Grizzlies, as we begin our day and today's announcements, we invite you to take your badge out of your binder. We also invite you to take your phone and put it in your binder. Make sure to put your badge around your neck so it's easily seen, and let's get started. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey parents and students, make sure you come to Parent-Teacher Conference.
They are upcoming this next week on Wednesday and Thursday.
Get excited because we're excited to meet them and tell them all the great things that you're doing in class,
How your grades are, and everything we can do to help you improve and be super successful this year. Can't wait to see you all there.
Keep up on how your kids are doing.
From 4 to 7 o'clock. Your parents can come either one of those days.
Students, come with your parents so you can make sure that you can, you know what's going on and you can make up all your work.
We really want to meet your parents.
we want to meet them. Please come to Parent-Teacher Conference.
Parent-teacher conferences are this week, and we're excited to see you. When you get to the school with a parent, you will first check in at the front of the school. You will then be instructed to make your way to your den teacher. Your den teacher will then go over some of your goals and how you're doing in your classes, and they will give you a raffle ticket. This year we're giving away Apple AirPods to a lucky raffle winner. We hope to see you this week on Wednesday and Thursday. Yep, that's this week at parent-teacher conferences. All right, Grizzlies, we're going to be moving over some data, so please pull out your student data tracker. Teachers, now might be a good time to pause the video to give your students time. You'll notice at the top there's a giant box. The problem is, this is actually supposed to be two separate boxes. So take a pencil or pen and make a nice thick line right here, between level and student access. Just make a nice dark line there. Teachers, now might be a good time to pause the video to give your students time. For the section in the middle, we're actually not going to worry about it for now. Let's go to the very end. Here, there are two boxes kind of again, and there's an extra space here we don't need. Take a pencil or a pen and color in this row right here because we're not going to need it. All that's important are English, math, and science. Teachers, now might be a good time to pause the video to give your students time. When you're finished, pull out the colored paper. It looks like this. We're going to use the bottom of this paper to fill in the top of your data tracker. You'll notice the chart says BOY. This means beginning of year and connects to the first test. Right above the BOY, you'll see a number. In this case, 798. Take that first number and move it to the first test score. If you don't have a number, go ahead and leave that section blank. Teachers, now might be a good time to pause the video to give your students time. Now we move on to the middle of year, or MOY. Find the number directly above it and move it to Test 2. This is the score for Test 2. We're then going to go to EOY, which is the end of year, and find the number directly above it. Take this number and move it to the third test, just like we did for the other two. Teachers, now might be a good time to pause the video to give your students time. The next section is the level section, and we're going to have to go to this colored chart on the right to find the level. You'll notice that if your dot was in either the red, orange, yellow, green, or blue section, there are some words connected. This particular student had all of them in the blue, so they're all above. This student would then write above in each of these boxes. However, it's possible that yours are in different colors, maybe yellow. If it was in the yellow section, you're going to write approaching where the level is. If you have a dot in an orange section, you'll write below. If you have a dot in the red section, you'll want to mark it as far below. This just helps us know what your level is based on the test you took. Teachers, now might be a good time to pause the video to give your students time. This section underneath that section, we are not going to do anything with. And this section below that, you'll take care of that in your content classes. For this bottom section, we're going to need to use the top part of that colored paper. So let's see how this is to be done. You'll notice that there's language arts, math, and science. And this will all connect to your paper, English, math, and science. In English/language arts for 21-22, find the first number and move it over. For 22-23, find the second number and move it over. Teachers, now might be a good time to pause the video to give your students time. We're now going to try this with math. In math proficiency, take that first number and move it over. Then take the second number and move it over. Teachers, now might be a good time to pause the video to give your students time. Let's try this one more time with science. We're going to take the first number, in this case 851, and then we're going to take the second number, higher or lower, and put it in the 22-23 section. Teachers, now might be a good time to pause the video to give your students time. Now we got to talk about growth. To find the growth, you'll take the most current year and subtract the previous year. The red minus the blue number. In this case, 78. Teachers, now might be a good time to pause the video to give your students time. For math, we'll take the second number, subtract the first number, and that will give us a new number. Teachers, now might be a good time to pause the video to give your students time. Finally, in science, we'll take the most recent number, subtract the earlier number, and that will give us the growth in science. Teachers, now might be a good time to pause the video to give your students time. Now we have to talk about your goal. This is a little confusing, and we're going to need to use the chart, but also what's below the chart to figure out your goal. For English proficiency, you want your goal to be at least proficient. Find your grade. If you're 8th grade, under proficient, take a look at that smaller number. In this case, 471. Your goal in English, if you're an 8th grader, should be at least 471. However, if you scored higher than 471, we don't want the goal to be lower. We'll get rid of that. And instead, we'll take your score and add 20. Teachers, now might be a good time to pause the video to give your students time. For math, check your grade, see where it connects with proficiency, take that smaller number, and make that your goal. If your most recent score was higher, go ahead and take your recent score and add 20. Teachers, now might be a good time to pause the video to give your students time. Again, for science, find your grade, see where it connects with proficiency, take the smaller number, and our goal is to be proficient. But if you are already past that number, simply add 20. Teachers, now might be a good time to pause the video to give your students time. Once you're finished, you have completed moving over all of the data you need to move over today. Teachers, you are welcome to review this, and good luck.